I don't know. Are we being interesting?
I think that we're being a little conversational, a lot conversational, which is fine. That's
Hey, you don't want to talk about your thing?
You want to talk about your thing, and then I'll see.
What's my thing? Oh, past life.
Visitations.
Oh. All right. When we were working with corporations, whether it's computer company or hedge fund, we would work with like a CEO because they just didn't want anybody else in the company to know that they were working with psychics, remote viewers. And when we would get done with the work, if we were in a meeting with them, always, the conversation would shift to aliens, UFOs, life on other planets. That's all they really, really wanted to know about. And it didn't matter who it was.
Even if they're engaging you based on their corporate needs?
Yeah, so we're talking about if company A is going to merge with company B, and the size of the investment, and we're viewing this stuff and showing the data, talking about which direction they should go, this and that, to make the most out of it. At the end of the day, they always wanted to have dinner and spend a lot of time with us just asking questions about aliens and UFOs and what's happening on planet Earth, from the standpoint of that stuff. So it's funny because that's like the main interest that I think most people have, and honestly, it's like I enjoy viewing that kind of stuff now over corporate or finding missing people or counter-terror. I really find that chasing mysteries and trying to reveal and open up mysteries is so much more fun, than doing that stuff. And they found the same thing. They liked it too. So it was interesting. And I know our conversation is going more esoteric, and I always have tried to ground myself more, a little bit more on a middle ground. I don't take everything as a solid that I hear out there. We remote view it and figure out if it's true or not. But over the years, all my talk about aliens, UFOs, and stuff, that we're viewing, I think does begin to isolate a certain segment of the population from watching me, right? At the same time, because not everybody believes that stuff is true. But yes, I have had lots of experiences with alien stuff growing up, when I was a kid and getting abducted. We used to live in a very rural area, and it would just be open fields around us. And I don't remember what age it happened from, a span of my age from when I began to remember it was probably 10, 11 years old, of something coming to my window in my bedroom at night, asleep at night. No idea what times this would occur. Something coming to my window, and it would be outside, and I would see its face, see the faces, and they would begin to paralyze me, and I would get pulled up, and I would go through the window, and then I would black out. And I would always find myself outside with no clothes on. It's the middle of the night, and I had to make my way back inside the house. And it happened repeatedly. And so it always made me curious throughout my whole life. It's like, why? I know the faces, of these things that were taking me through the window were the gray faces, but then everything went black. And then when I was listening to the radio, listening to this case, this was not that long ago, there was a researcher, I think this was in either Arizona or New Mexico, and I need to find out who this guy was. He was investigating a case where UFOs had been seen. This little boy had been abducted, the boy's claim as well, and there was literally a blanket that was fused through the window, right? So they're on the outside, the abductors, the abductee is on the inside of the room. They take him through the window, the blanket's on him. The boy goes through the window, but the blanket gets stuck and fused, literally fused through the window. And I thought, man, that's why I was always naked. I had no explanation for that until I heard this case.
Were you scared when that happened?
Yeah, I was terrified, absolutely 100% terrified, because I couldn't move, and they're right there. It's like a horror film, horror story. These beings outside my window that are paralyzing me and taking me, you know, and I'm fighting against them. No, and then I just black out every single time, every time.
You would think that if they know that it was going to be disturbing for you, they'd just have you blacked out from the very beginning.
Maybe that was the approach. I don't know. I mean, maybe they couldn't do that. Maybe they had to get in there first, and it took a while to do something with the mind. I have no idea what they used, how they use it. Yeah.
How many times did this happen?
I don't know. A lot.
Countless.
I don't know if it's countless. It's just that it was, I don't know. It's like I wasn't keeping track. It was something that I put to the back of my head. You know, oh, it happened again. Let's just forget about this. This is weird, you know. The door was unlocked. Always. To the house. The back sliding door to go back into my bedroom, because my parents were on the other side of the house. And I would get put like back, so this would be the field behind us. I'd get put back in the field behind the house. Go back in, it's dark. Open the door, always unlocked, go back to bed. You know, I mean, I've got mystery scars and probably implants and stuff too. Yeah. But yeah, so I think the last time that it happened, this type of experience, the totally out of control, I can't stop it from happening, was when I was in my 20s. And that was around, as far as I remember, I mean, maybe their technology got better and they kept sucking me out the window. It was when I was in my 20s living in San Diego, actually, by San Diego State University. And that was the last time the horror of that occurred. I have had other. So the latest one that happened was a couple of years ago, about two or 3 years ago. I was at my parents' house. I was living up in the Bay Area, San Francisco, and my wife and I would come down to visit my parents, and they live in, I won't say where they live. So we were asleep, and I literally just all of a sudden found myself like we are right now in a totally different scene, because I remember just going to bed, right? My mind felt like it was slightly drugged, but not a lot, right? So I still had like question and control, but I was not afraid. Not like what you hear with other abduction type scenarios where, you know, you can't do anything and you're horrified, right? So what happened was I was in a facility with all these buildings, like concrete pads with disc-shaped UFOs on them, and then a building right next to them. So it was like these, like they would store them there, keep them there, land them there, and then all these it was like a facility of some sort, and there were these walkways that went through it. So they took me and a group of people. We're talking about gray aliens, right? They took me and a group of people, other people, into one of the crafts. There were other people going into these other crafts on other concrete pads, right? And we go into this craft. We go up, right? We go way, way, way up into the atmosphere, and we breach like out into space. And I'm marveling at this. I'm like standing next to the person that's flying it, right? And there's other people around, and I'm marveling at how we are able to just go like that and go up into space with no problem at all. And I bring up rockets, so I start talking to the one piloting the craft, and I bring up rockets. Like, why are we using rockets when you guys are here and presumably we have this, you know? And he says those are just theater for the masses, you know? That rockets are just theater for the masses. We have this, your government has this, your military has this, and this is where this is the utilization of it's for important things, right? Utilize this craft for important things.
So who were they?
They were gray aliens. They look like it, right? You know, I mean, how can you, you know, context. So we have context for gray aliens. So I would just say they are gray aliens, you know. So then he said, I'll show you. So he started going up out of the atmosphere and down back, up and down, up and down. It was wild. And so we go back up and I ask, I'm like, well, God, okay. So for me, it's like, I've always felt like my experience has been elsewhere, off planet, right? If you're talking about reincarnation, you know, we get into that stuff. And so I don't really, I've always felt like, how come I can't go to other planets? You know, I've always felt that way. It's always been very strange. In fact, when I was a little kid, we were watching, this was, you know, the early 70s when the Apollo went to the moon, right? And, you know, it's televised. I'm watching it. I don't know, 3 years old, 4 years old. And I'm pointing at the TV going, I'm that, you know, because this guy's going in a spacecraft. And my mom says, oh yeah, you want to be an astronaut? And I said, no, I'm that. And she said, oh, you want to play astronaut? I said, no, I am astronaut. And that's how I always felt. I felt, well, I planet hop. I go to different planets, you know? So it was really cool to do this. And so I asked, is there, can I work out in space? You know, can I go, you know? And this guy says that 750,000 humans currently work outside of the planet in space with them. And yeah, if you want to do that, you can.
This was 3 years ago.
This was 3 years ago. So we go back down and we land and we go out of the craft and everybody else is coming out of the craft as well. And they sit, so there's this big grassy area with pathways around it. We sit in this big grass, they sit us down in this big grassy area. And it was like a publicity stunt. It was really, really weird. So out starts to walk, you know, I look over and out starts to walk a stream of hybrids. So alien-human hybrids along with grays, just coming out and walking in front of us, and they all stood in front of us. And, you know, I'm seated on the ground with all these other people, and I'm looking around at the other people, and I recognized a person next to me. I don't know if I should say who it was. We'll wait on that part.
Coworker, friend, school?
No, I don't know this person.
Family?
No,
but you recognize somebody?
Yeah, so every single person there...
Could be celeb?
It was a celebrity, right. It was, well, within the whole UFO community, it was a celebrity. Okay, and so they get up in front. There's a myriad of like different heights, right? You have grays that are this tall, you have grays / humans that are this tall. And the hybrid ones were tall, and they had, when I saw them, it was like I had no context for it, but I knew that they were hybrids. They looked so bizarre. So they had scraggly brownish hair or blondish hair. It was scraggly. Slightly green faces with weird, like, it wasn't a total gray eye, but they were big eyes and this sort of just strangely shaped mouth, like a human mouth, but it was shaped funky. And I had I did not know that hybrids look like this. And even after the event, I was like, I know there are hybrids, but what the heck is that? What the heck is that? So you sent me a video to look at, and associated with this video was an image, a painting of something.
It's an aquafarian.
An aquafarian. But I got to tell you that
this was the David Wilcock, Emery Smith interview, episode 9. I forget what season is, 2018.
Right. It was a really, really great interview. Really great interview.
Yeah, but you recognize that image.
I recognize that image as being extremely similar to what these particular hybrids look like. You know, up to that point, I thought hybrids would just, I guess there would be degrees, right? But I didn't expect that degree because it looked slightly horrifying, like that image, and just like that. I don't know how that image correlates to what I've seen, but it was uncannily similar. Uncannily similar. So anyway, they're standing up there, all their different heights. Now, I can't tell one gray alien from the next, you know? I mean, I hope I'm not being racist, but...
There it is. They all look alike.
They all look alike.
Well, don't they, though? I mean...
Right. I know, isn't that funny?
I've never seen one, I can't tell you.
I know.
Much less 2 or 3.
The YouTube comments are going to be bad on that one.
People are laughing.
You racist. I can't, so literally can't, but there was one gray that came in that I knew this guy. I knew him so deeply, but I didn't know from where. Like, I knew his energy, and I was just feeling his energy. It was like, I don't know that gray or that gray or that gray, but that one I know, but he looks exactly like those other ones. It was really interesting. So one of the grays came out and basically said, you are all communicators. So every single person there was some type of communicator. Heck, you could have been there, and you just don't remember, right? So every person there was some type of communicator of different ideas. A teacher, a communicator. And they said, we want you to remember this, and we want you to tell people about this experience that you had. Because your society can shift to this type of craft, this type of leaving the planet, coming and going from the planet. So it was a publicity stunt of some sort, right? So I found myself, okay, so it's ending, right? And so the next thing I find is that I am like getting up, we're moving, and I find myself like back in my room. It's nighttime. I'm laying in bed. My wife's right next to me. And I get up and I go to the window. The window is open and there's a bright like disc type shape right outside the window. And I just go to the window and I'm just staring at it. And Brooke, you know, there's a sliding glass door or a mirror, sliding glass mirror to the closet. She wakes up and she's looking at this reflection of the outside of this big disc. And she turns around and she just looks at me and she mumbles to herself, John's just doing his alien thing again. And her thing is that she says, I'm just standing there at the window like this, like looking down, like limp. But I mean, I was, you know, looking at this craft. And so we both watched this craft fly away. So it was a really weird experience. And that was, as far as I know, the last type of contact that I've had with those guys. Now, I've had other types of contact, straight on physical, that haven't subdued my mind. But you can find those in my book. Yeah.
So tell us about your book. What's the title?
Oh, it's called The Time Before the Secret Words.
Time Before the Secret Words.
On the Path of Remote Viewing, High Strangeness, and Zen.
Can they order this from your website or they go to Amazon?
Go to Amazon. You know, I do have it on my website. You can, you know, click the link and go right to Amazon from there. Or
that's righthemispheric.com.
Yep.
Have you gone public with this anywhere else?
This is the only time I've ever spoken about it publicly.
Well, there you have it. A little exclusive here at Search for Truth Reality. Thank you for sharing, John.
Yeah.
No, but the Emery, Emery Smith interview is just, it's amazing.
Yeah.
The kind of work that he's done. I have a friend who recognizes him from certain work that.
Really?
Yes. Who? Yeah. Yeah.
So you have a friend that has worked in the same areas that he's worked in?
Not that this just has encountered. My friend has encountered this person. I probably shouldn't say anything. I'm waiting for him to get back to me, actually. But yeah.
Man,
no, I'm not even going to say what. I'll tell you off camera.
Yeah.
I'll tell you off camera.
But you're able to put the puzzle.
Well, I'll just let it roll. So so we're going to cut this out.
Yep.
Recognized him as Greer's bodyguard.
Really? This dude in the interview was Greer's bodyguard? That is so crazy, because when I saw the interview with this dude, my gut instinct, I was thinking, this guy's security, man. This guy is like...
You look at him, he's like...
Right. My gut was straight off, this guy knows how to frickin' fight and kill.
Yeah, but he's science, too.
He's science at the same time.
Yeah, I mean,
I suppose you got to have that breadth.
You have a lot of people who are athletes who are successful in business, right? And they're in all kinds of things. Doctors too, I mean, Greer, look at him. Yeah. He's pretty fit. Yeah. I wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley,
Right, that's true. Not for any reason.
So when you said celebrity in the world, I thought of him.
Well, I've told you who it is, right?
No.
Oh, I didn't?
Wow, so thanks for sharing that amazing experience. Is there anything else you want to share contact-wise? Was there anything else?
Contacts?
Yeah, contact. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Connections?
So we were working a project once. We're working with Ruben Uriarte.
When you say we were talking about TDS?
Yes, TDS. So we were working this project once. This was, there was a TV show called Beyond Boundaries that was on the Learning Channel. And Ruben Uriarte was the host. He's the Northern California MUFON, Mutual UFO Network director at this point. But he was the host along with Joyce Murphy. And Joyce, what she used to do is she used to lead expeditions to events where there were just high strangeness occurring, and people would sign on. Oh, it'd be amazing. I mean, can you imagine? It was basically a travel group, like Rick Steves' Europe travel tours, but for the paranormal, right? And so she would take people on these tours, but then it developed into a television show that was on the Learning Channel. They were going to Puerto Rico to hunt chupacabras, right? See if they can get on the trail of a chupacabra. And they asked us if we would remote view where they could, find a chupacabra. My question, though, was, is it even real? I mean, I think we have to step one step backwards and say, well, let's first find out if it's real or not, right?
It's like, can you remote view where the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man lives?
It's difficult. Right, exactly. It's a difficult thing to do. Yeah, right. Then there was another phenomena occurring where the villagers, probably not villagers, the city folk, the country folk, were seeing lights coming down from the sky, spitting lights and stuff on a regular basis, landing in the forest and stuff. They asked some official, the U.S. has a lot of military installations, and there's a lot of scientific research going on in Puerto Rico. They asked somebody, I think, that was connected to NASA, the people that live out in the country there, and they said, yeah, we're just bringing our satellites down for service.
Oh my God.
Right. So anyway, I mean, they inadvertently admitted that something was going on, right? So they also wanted us to look at that, Hilarious, right? Yeah. So we embarked on the project first to figure out if the chupacabra is real, and then we began to look at these lights. And I think the important side of this whole project was the lights that were coming down. I was the first remote viewer in on watching those lights. I know, and everybody's going to be asking, what about the chupacabra? Is it real? It's real. If you remember me saying there's a lot of scientific research going on down there, it's something that escaped from a genetic testing facility.
In episode 7 or 8 of the Gaia TV interview between Wilcock and Emery, he talks about something escaping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very large, dangerous thing escaping.
Yeah. Now, this happens on probably a regular basis. And that's, we got the reality of it as it being absolutely 100% real, physical.
Did you tell me about this? I think was it Area 51, something just with these really sharp claws that were just, they got it in the container, which was metal, and it's just scratched up. So that wasn't
No,
you.
that wasn't me.
So I got it right. So it was on. Don't hold me to this. I'm reading so much stuff. I hope I'm not mixing up the sources. So check it out. It was just.
I'm gonna have to dig that one up.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All the transcripts for all the shows are out there on Corey Good's website under what's called spherebeingalliance.com, and then they have they just follow the links there.
Right.
You'll find it. Yeah.
Okay. I want to see that. Well, so it's similar situation probably to that where we got something being real, 100% real, and so we followed it back to where it came from, and the viewers started describing this genetic, what was it? Not just testing, but creation. They were splicing different genes together, trying to create different life forms. And in Puerto Rico, there's a lot of really bizarre secret military installations that apparently do this kind of stuff. So the viewers got it getting out, a bunch of them getting out from this facility.
Did they look like jackrabbits with deer horns?
No, they look like, the viewers were describing 3 to 4 feet tall, kind of spiny down the back, big head, typically big eyes, very sharp claws, haunches, like it had haunches, on 2 feet, and it would move and jump really, really fast. In fact, one viewer, specifically, this one session was incredible. He's clearly describing a chupacabra, right? He doesn't know he's viewing this, right? But it's a chupacabra. He says this weird reptilian, mammalian life form, more reptilian, with a big head is giving birth. And immediately, once it gives birth, this baby has to run because the mother's going to eat it.
What the heck?
Yeah. That was the data.
This is the data.
This is the data.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That wasn't metaphorical?
No.
No?
Physical viewer. That was crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah. I probably still have that session somewhere. I should dig it up. It's just...
That's weird.
It's wild.
Yeah, when I asked about contacts, I don't know if you had anything with ET.
Right. So anyway, now the lights that were occurring over there. When we viewed that, I was the first viewer in. I was blind, right? I was the first viewer in on that, and I immediately got these beings that were coming, and I just kept saying, "They're coming, they're coming, they're coming, they're coming." I was getting them as very acerbic, very focused, and they're coming to Earth for something. And I was drawing them, describing them in the session and stuff. And at one point in the session, I realized they know I'm viewing them. They know I'm viewing them. They're conscious of me viewing them.
How did that make you feel?
Very nervous. I backed out of the session pretty quick. And because I was thinking, uh-oh, this is not going to be good. So we start working this project, and we eventually realized that Arecibo radio telescope is involved, and they're actually capturing some type of signal from these guys. So these guys are part signal, moving through a signal, as well as being physical. Really, I don't know how it works. It's more of a dimensional to three-dimensional type thing, but they're coming to Earth. They're coming to Earth. Arecibo picks up this signal from these guys. Of course, they'll never admit to it, but all of our data was basically saying they did. So about a month later, I'm at home, and I'm going to sleep because I'm really tired, weirdly tired. I immediately just drop into a weird dream of being stuck in space, in a space capsule, this and that, and I can't get back down to Earth. And right at that moment, I'm yelling to my remote viewers to please call on some alien help to, this is a dream, to get me out to get me out of being stuck in this spaceship. At that moment, I realized that I didn't have to actually ask them because they could hear me, and I saw them come in, and what I saw come in was this big ship type thing. At that moment, while I'm laying in bed, I'm being like hit on my shoulder, like over and over and over again, like wake up, wake up, wake up. And I reach around and I just grab the hand, and this sort of bumpy and kind of slick, cold feeling thing, like pulls itself out of my hand. I'm like, so I sit back up in bed, and literally right from me to you, there's this thing standing there about this high. Its head was shaped like a football, sideways football. It had two little peering eyes on each side, this sort of like semi-translucent nose, and underneath its whole chin area, it had all these balls, like it was like these protrusion balls, and its limbs went down into just like a spindly sort of thing that somehow held it up. So it's right there, and I'm backing up in bed, and I'm going, oh my god, oh my god, oh my, what are you? And it's going. What did it say? It said, "Don't be afraid. We are from the signal." So the signal was,
That's what you remote viewed.
Exactly. We are from the signal. We're here to help us. We're here to help you, and we want you to help us. So I was like, I heard this in my head. This was like clear, like, and then it said, "Stop with the emotions. It's like you're throwing rocks at me." Because I was freaking out.
You're freaking out, yeah.
And that emotional response to it was like being punched, right?
Right.
So it started backing off, and then just sort of exploded into these sparks, and then that was it. And I'm like,
What year was that?
This was about the year 2000. Yeah, about the year 2000. That's when you could actually watch the show. You could probably find it online, Beyond Boundaries, when they went to Puerto Rico, and they mentioned some remote viewers from California.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. But anyway, so that happened to me, and then that being started showing up in different capacities for months, and they actually became friends. I don't know where they are now. They would show up in two different ways. They would show up as that pure physical thing. Then they would also show up as these blue lights that would fly around, and you'd see them. You'd be, drinking.
Any other colors? Just blue?
Typically blue. Yeah, and maybe a little bit towards the white side at times, but typically it's sort of a brilliant.
A little small, multiple, a single.
It depended, right? Sometimes it would be multiple, sometimes it would be single. I ended up calling them. There's no mention of these guys in UFO literature, alien literature at all, right? So these guys showed up to other people within the group later on. I didn't say anything. I was trying to just, understand the situation, and they showed up to other people in the group independent of me saying anything, and they wanted us to work on a specific project. So they came here for a species of fireflies on Earth, a firefly called Pteroptyx tenor. It's apparently, at least back then, only existed in two locations, in the Amazon and in Thailand. And the one in Thailand, these species of fireflies, they flash all synchronously. They're apparently the only species that flashes I think there are probably people that know about this more than I do, but they were interested in that species of fireflies because they're genetically related to them, and their whole habitat was being decimated. They didn't come here for Earth people, right? No Earth people. They didn't care about Earth people. They came here to try to figure out how to save their cousins, Really, really weird, man. But I stepped in the way, and so they asked us to do a project where we could help them save their habitat.
It's wild, but also consider the diversity of life.
Right. True. Exactly. How many aliens are coming here from other planets, dimensions that have no interest in humans? Humans are so egocentric, right? You know, I mean, we think that, well, they're here for us. We're the greatest thing here. You know? But no, we're not. You know, there's a lot of other varied life forms here that to other beings are way more important than us. You know? So I found that interesting because I had that egocentric viewpoint as well. Well, any alien that comes here is going to be here to, you know, help us.
So I heard you had an interview with James Gilliland recently.
Yeah, we had a interview just a couple days ago for his radio show, and interestingly, you came up. So he had mentioned that you had been out there to ECETI Ranch, the UFO ranch, and had also had some type of experience.
I did, but not on the ranch.
Not on the ranch.
No, not
but
there.
the beings connected to the ranch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the ones that he's talked about, and it's no secret. I've told, or at least written a few times out there that, and I've said it in a couple of videos that I have had a contact experience, but I've not gone public with the fine details of what transpired and how all that was done. I haven't done that
Did you
yet.
tell people who it was with?
No.
Nope.
No. There's
That's
nothing.
your story to tell.
That's mine. Yeah. You know, I've tried recording that story at least 9 times. I even have a friend an actor friend in San Diego who graciously donated her time to host an interview with that, and that's sitting aside as well. I've got all kinds of versions of me trying to tell that story, and I don't know. I just don't want to. I'm not ready to go on video. I might do it at maybe at ECETI in front of a group there. I would probably do it, but I'm not ready to put myself out there on YouTube with those details.
Yeah.
I'll do it one-on-one at lunch. You want to buy me lunch? Yeah. We'll work for food, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, I do. I have friends who have interested, and we've gone out and I've sat down and shared my story with them face to face.
You know, I think actually one of the cool things, because I know your story, and I think the one of the very cool things about it is the simple way that you achieved contact, which is an interesting thing that maybe people need to know about. You know, I mean, you know, relating your story and then how you achieve that contact, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I know you don't want to say anything. You're like, I'm not going to say anything.
No, it has to be right. I don't want to just throw it to the 4 winds,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, I agree.
And, you know, it's what's kind of drives me, my motivation to, you know, meet folks like you, you know, and others. It's about validation.
Right.
I've been quiet for other reasons too, because I don't want to let too much out there on the public airwaves, because then, you know, it removes my ability to test. You know, that has been my thought. I'm not so concerned about it now because I've gotten certain validations anyway.
Right.
But my concern back then was I didn't want to put it out because people may, you know, fake it. You know, if they know the specifics of mine, I won't be able to have a sensitive ear to certain details that align with my experience. And there are people out there who will wholesale steal, grab,
For sure.
big borrow, whatever, and take your experience as their own.
Right.
So I don't know, you know.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Yeah. Right. But yeah, so ECETI Ranch. So this location, as you know, has a lot of UFO anomalous activity. And I will be teaching a class there. So we are setting up a class to take place May 17th through May 20th. So we've got a 4-day class. I mean, literally, this should be on everybody's bucket list, ECETI Ranch, especially a remote viewing class at ECETI Ranch, because the vortexes, the phenomena that occurs on the mountain. I mean, we're going to combine getting involved with this stuff with learning remote viewing in this 4-day class. And one of the things that's going to happen out there, this happens normally in remote viewing classes, is that there's sort of a psychic pump that occurs with people, everybody doing it in the same location for a period of time, that really gets them very sensitive and creates even more psychic understanding of things.
Yeah, don't underestimate what John's saying here. I mean, it is true. I've participated in other types of activities where, you know, when you're with other people who are of the same mindset, ilk, desire, what have you, there's an energy there that just magnifies things. And I've experienced this on more than one occasion where it's like, holy smokes, look what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd never had, you know, that level of psychic ability manifest that way in my life. You know, so I have other parts of my story clearly I'm not telling, but you know, things happen.
Yeah.
And when you couple that with remote viewing, which is really, from my perspective, having taken a 3D class and used it, it's just tapping your latent ability. Just take a class like John, learn how to do it. You know, I think that anybody can if you just apply yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this area is going to really support good work in a remote viewing class. That's my feeling on it. It's going to be pretty incredible.
Yeah, plus the beauty of ECETI, I love that place.
Yeah.
It's such a peaceful, quiet place out in the middle of nature, miles and miles and miles away from, you know, the city. And if nothing else, if the remote viewing isn't your thing, you can take in the sights, you know, get yourself grounded. You know, walk around in the field of dreams out there and maybe see a UFO or 12 or 24.
Yeah. So you can get, if you go online, I think you can go to ECETI events or ECETI.com, which has a link to ECETI.
I think it's ECETI.org, and then follow the events link. That may be in the left column somewhere.
Right. And you'll find the class there. Yep. And there's an early bird registration where you can get much cheaper. The price of the class is only $600, which is phenomenal for a remote viewing class. You do have to take care of your own accommodations. You can camp at ECETI, and they also have a limited amount of rooms. I do not know about hotels, so
yeah, you can all look that up. But
Right.
if you're intending on attending this thing, and if it's going to be as big as we think it is, you want to move fast.
yeah, you want to move fast.
Yeah, because the space is somewhat limited there. Probably campers can be the best bet. You know, if you have a camper, roll in. You know, get a space there. I don't know what the cost is. I remember, you know, back in 2011, it was something like $20 for just a spot. I don't think they have hookups there. Something else to think about. They do have a few rooms, very few, so those may or may not be available. You'd have to contact ECETI to determine what rooms would be available. So there you have it.
Yeah, but you know, if you're interested in remote viewing and UFOs, I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Yeah, and remote viewing and UFOs.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah.
All right, there you have it. Thanks for tuning in to Search for Truth Reality. I'm Walter Noah Sad, and we'll talk to y'all next time.